Hello, curious minds. Have you ever wondered what everything around you is made of? Your hands, the air you breathe, even your favorite snack. What if I told you they're all built from tiny, invisible building blocks? We call these tiny pieces atoms. But where did this idea come from? Who first thought about atoms? And why are they called that? To find out, we need to take a trip way back in time, to ancient Greece. More than 2,400 years ago, a Greek philosopher named Democritus had a fascinating idea. He wondered, what happens if you keep cutting something into smaller and smaller pieces? Imagine taking a rock and cutting it in half. Then cutting it again. And again. Could you do this forever? Democritus believed no. He thought there had to be a point where you couldn't cut any smaller, an uncuttable piece. He called these tiny pieces atomos, which means uncuttable in Greek. And that's where we get the word atom today. But Democritus didn't have a microscope, so he couldn't see what we now know. Atoms aren't actually uncuttable. Each atom is made of even smaller parts. Protons, these have a positive charge and sit at the center of the atom. Neutrons, these have no charge and also live in the center. Electrons, these have a negative charge and zoom around the outside. Together, protons and neutrons form the nucleus, or the hearts of the atom, while electrons move around in a cloud. But here's something mind-blowing: an atom is mostly empty space. If the nucleus were the size of a marble, the electrons would be zipping around several kilometers away, more than a mile. But wait, there's more. If we zoom in even closer, we find that protons and neutrons aren't the smallest things either. They're made of even tinier particles called quarks. Quarks come in 6 different flavors with funny names: up, down, charm, strange, top, and bottom. Inside a proton or neutron, quarks are held together by a super strong force, making them stick tight like glue. Speaking of forces, let's talk about the invisible rules that keep everything together. Atoms don't just sit around doing nothing, they stay together because of forces. There are 4 main forces in nature, and they work together like an invisible team to build our universe. 1. Gravity. This is the force that pulls you toward the ground and keeps planets in orbit. It's actually the weakest of the forces, but it acts over long distances. 2. Electromagnetism. This force controls electricity and magnetism. It keeps electrons zipping around the nucleus instead of flying away. 3. The strong nuclear force. This is the toughest force in nature. It's what holds quarks together inside protons and neutrons and keeps the nucleus from falling apart. For the weak nuclear force, this force helps atoms change and even plays a role in how the sun makes energy. Without these forces, atoms wouldn't exist, meaning we wouldn't exist either. Where did these atoms come from? Hold on to your hats, because this is cosmic. The first atoms formed over 13.8 billion years ago, just after the Big Bang. At first, the universe was too hot for atoms to exist, but as it cooled down, the simplest atoms, hydrogen and helium, began to form. Then, something amazing happened: stars were born. Inside these gigantic balls of fire, smaller atoms smashed together to create heavier elements like carbon, oxygen, and iron, the very things that make up planets, plants, and people. And when these stars exploded as supernovas, they spread these elements across space, helping to create new stars, new planets, and eventually, us. That means the atoms in your body were once inside a star. You are, quite literally, made of stardust. Atoms don't like to be alone, they join forces to build everything around us. When atoms bond together, they form molecules. For example, water is made of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom, that's H2O. The food we eat, the air we breathe, the ground we walk on, everything is made of different combinations of atoms. They're like the tiny Lego pieces of the universe. Want to see atoms in action? Let's try a fun experiment with static electricity. You'll need a balloon, A plastic spoon. Small bits of paper. Here's what to do. 1. Rub the spoon or balloon on your hair or a wool sweater for about 10 seconds. 2. Hold it close to the paper bits and watch them jump up. What's happening? Electrons from the balloon or spoon are moving to the paper, pulling it up like a magnet. This is how static electricity works. So, the next time someone asks, what are atoms, and why are they called that? You'll know the answer. Atoms are the tiny building blocks of everything. They were first imagined by Democritus in ancient Greece, and their name means uncuttable. They're made of even smaller particles like protons, neutrons, electrons, and tiny quarks. The four forces of nature hold them together and shape the universe. And they come from stars, which means you're made of stardust. Science is full of amazing mysteries, and there's always more to discover. So keep asking questions, stay curious, and never stop exploring the universe around you. For more answers to amazing mysteries, don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.